Hey everyone, I'm Bill and I cook stuff. So today I am going to go classic style and I'm going to make a chicken and broccoli in white rice. Yes, I said it, chicken and broccoli in white rice. Super easy a dish to make. The most time you're going to spend is with the chopping. And when I say chopping, it's chopping the chicken or slicing the chicken. The broccoli, and then the cooking. The cooking takes a few minutes as well. Everything under 30 minutes, so a quick meal. And let's get to the prep area. Before the prep area, of course, just to prep you, there will be the dad joke at the very end. Okay, so in case you were wondering, it's like, hey, where's that dad joke? It's at the end. So let's take a look at the ingredients of this classic chicken and broccoli and white sauce. And then we're gonna go to the prep area and cook, and then plates, and then taste. Ta-da! That's pretty much it. That's the formula for cooking. And of course, proper hygiene. Always make sure you clean and wash, etc., etc. All right. See the ingredients, and then see you at the prep area. And I'm using my hands a lot. Ta-da! Hands. All right, here I am at the prep area. So I actually have a pound of chicken breasts. So I actually pre-cut half a pound already, and I'm actually going to quickly demonstrate just the cutting, if you will. So to see, just to show you how thin the slices are. And I have my marinade preparation ready to go in the order I'm going to put the marinade in. So I have my 3 tablespoons of water, my 2 teaspoons of wine, cooking wine, my 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, my 2 teaspoons of starch, and I have a teaspoon of cooking oil. So, all right, so once I finish cutting or slicing the chicken breast, I am gonna go jump right into the marinade. So let me show you a few slices, and then I'm gonna finish up the slicing on my own, and we'll start the marinade. All right, so thin slices. So as you can see, you want make sure your knife is sharp enough, and your hands are clean too. You want to slice thin, and so it's gonna be a really thin strip. So there we go. So these thin strips, they should look about like this, if you will. So just do this, so probably like 1/8 of an inch. If it goes thinner, it's no worries, because it's gonna cook pretty quickly, and we actually want that to happen. All right, so that is the super thin slicing, if you will. Neat trick is if you put the chicken into the freezer for about 20 minutes or so and take it out, it'll make it easier to slice, if you will. All right, so I am going to finish this up, and then we'll go straight to the marinade. Okay. All right, so I finished cutting my chicken strips. So here's the 1 pound, and I'm actually going to use my hands and put the rest in. Ta-da! And probably need a bigger bowl. I actually do need a bigger bowl, don't I? But I'm actually going to marinate this, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge to marinate. Okay, so here we have the 1 pound, actually I almost said 2 pounds. 1 pound of chicken, and what I'm going to do is actually quickly move this aside. And here we go. So, if you have more table space, it makes life easier. So I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons of water and just mix here. Okay. And then I am going to put my 2 teaspoons of cooking wine and just mix. Oops. And mix. And I am going to put my 1 tablespoon oyster sauce. I'm going to use my fingers. Use a spoon if you have it. But my hands are clean, I promise. I just washed them. And you should always be make sure you wash your hands, wash your tools, your cutting board, etc. Before you start cooking and prepping. And then of course afterwards, making sure you wipe down everything as well, okay? Because you are working with raw meats. Okay, so mix well, and then just get right in there. And then I put my 2 teaspoons of cooking starch, and then mix. Okay, and mix. So you want to mix it so it mixes well. Kind of cold here. And then finally, my cooking oil. And what the cooking oil does is it helps seal in the moisture when it's on the stove. All right, so my hands are really messy right now, and I'm gonna switch to my right hand because I am right-handed, and it was kind of tough using my left hand. So as you can see, I'm just gently kneading it in, probably about 30 seconds to a minute or so. So it's actually looking pretty good now. You just want to make sure it covers all the chicken. And cool beans. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it, put it in the fridge to let it marinate while we prep everything else. It gives me an opportunity to clean up as well. So that's the marinated chicken part. It was like super easy. So the biggest time, geez. The longest time you'll spend is on the cutting, actually. So, or the chopping, the cutting, etc. Same thing goes for like the broccoli. Woo, that's cold. All right, so here we are. We are all set. I'm gonna clean up a little, put this in the fridge, wipe everything down, clean my cutting board, and then the next bit is we're gonna start chopping our broccoli. Okay, and let's get to it. All right, here I am with my broccoli and my aromatics after, of course, I cleaned up quite a bit. Again, make sure you clean up. I have a smaller space, but if you have a bigger space, you can just use different parts of your kitchen, and then clean up would be easier. Okay, so I'll start with broccoli. I actually cut some florets already. We're only going to use the florets today. So here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it right around here and cut and not use the stem, and then I have florets like this. So what I'll do is, if this is too big, I'll just cut it in half like so, and ta-da, there you have it. I'll do one more. I'll take this one, as you can see, and then boop. All right, so I'm going to finish this. Then I'm going to my aromatics. So once we're all said and done, we should have about 4 to 6 cups. Wow, I'm talking really fast. All right, here you go. And I will finish up and be right back. Okay, so I finished my broccoli cutting. As you can see, I have quite a few cups, and I'm going to go straight into the aromatics. I have this right here, my green onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and a nub of ginger. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm only going to use 2 slices. Okay. So actually, I'm going to start with the green onion. Pretty simple. Just chop, 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 chop. Wow, that one's slipping away. So be careful, of course. Doesn't have to be too small. It's just regular chopping, if you will. Ta-da! That's there. Put it in my nifty bowl. Boop, boop, boop. I am going to use my 2 slices. So here's 1, and then watch your fingers. Shoot, 2, and then so I have 2 slices here of the ginger. Bloop, 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 and just cuts, cuts, cuts. So they're 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's done for the ginger. Bloop, boop, and I'm just gonna chop, 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 chop my garlic. Same here. Chop, 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 chop. And ta-da! Aromatics are done. To aromatics and the broccoli. So on to the very last bit. I'm going to clean up a little bit. And the last bit is the sauce. And then it's sauce. Well, actually, sauce and then a quick slurry. And then it's time to cook. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so I am here with the ingredients for the sauce. It's really straightforward, actually. So, I need a spoon. I'll use this spoon. So I have 3/4 cup of low sodium chicken broth. If you like salt, you could use more. You can use regular. And speaking of salt, I am going to put a half of teaspoon of salt into the broth and mix. Next, I'm going to put in, the half of teaspoon of the white pepper. Yeah, you gotta be careful with this because sometimes it gets in your nose and there's a lot of sneezing. Okay, and you mix. I probably should have used a cup or something. It's tough to mix with a small bowl. Okay, and then I am actually going to put the teaspoon, or excuse me, yeah, actually it is a teaspoon of sesame oil. Now it's, you know, I separate it, of course. Usually when I'm cooking, I'm just like tossing it in and using the feeling, if you will, to make my sauce. And then the last bit is I actually sliced some ginger and it's gonna plop it right in there. Now, if you don't like ginger, of course you can use less for your aromatics, and then of course not even use it in your sauce. So that's pretty much it. That's the sauce. So we're done with the sauce. What? So the very final step is I am going to make a slurry with 3 tablespoons of water to 1 teaspoon of starch. So I'm going to have that on the ready. So we will, well, then it's time to cook. Actually, I'm actually going to use my mason jar to put the slurry in, if you will. So, all right, where did I put my? Here it is. My teaspoon of starch. So I have my jar, and of course, if you have a bowl, use a bowl. And I'm going to do. Here's my pitcher. 3 tablespoons. So a trick here is you put the water in a bowl and then you scoop out. So 1, 2, and that's 3. And put in my teaspoon of starch for the slurry. And then mix. And it is very loud when you do this. Okay? So that's ready to go. You're gonna have to mix it again before we actually pour it in. So if you like a thicker sauce, you know, just be mindful of the water to starch ratio, if you will. Then you can always put more water or chicken broth while you're cooking as well. So here you have it. I have the sauce and my slurry. So I have everything. It's time to cook. So I will see you all in the kitchen. So what do we have so far? We have the marinating chicken. We have the aromatics all chopped and ready to go. We have the sauce. Oh, we have the broccoli all chopped. We have the sauce and the slurry. And now it's just a matter of cooking. All right. Cool beans. Hello. Okay, here I am at the stove. So I have about a tablespoon of cooking oil and in a pan. And I'm going to put it on high heats. Okay. And let it just move it around a little bit, move it around, moving it around. Okay, so actually, if I moved it around when it was off the heat, I wasn't actually heating it. So I'm gonna let it heat for a few seconds, and then I am going to test it out. I'm putting 1, and okay, maybe 2. All right, I'm gonna put it all in. Okay, so there's my aromatics, and just move it around. You know, I could have cut it more, chopped them more finely, but I figured I'd do something a little bit different today and have like the bigger pieces, as you can see. Okay, so that's sizzling. So now I can smell the fragrance. So that means it's time to put my chicken. So I'm just going to slowly put the chicken, move it around. Now you may, I have a small pan, so if you have a bigger pan, even better. If you have a wok, that's even a lot better. Okay, but all right. Hopefully I didn't overdo it. And you might need to make 2 batches. Wow, look at that. That's a big amount of stuff, if you will. Okay, so I'm just going to move it around, as you can see. And as you can see, I have a pound of chicken cooking. So I want to make sure that the chicken all around is quite opaque, because the next step is going to be the broccoli. The broccoli, this is actually going to take a few minutes, if you will, because, and you want to make sure you stir. I'm using chopsticks, but a spatula, having two spatulas is actually better, because I want to make sure that I swap out my chopsticks and things are evenly cooked. So I'm not like, you know, moving, have like raw meat on my chopsticks, if you will. So just want to move that around. Now, keep in mind, depending on how much chicken you put in, it may take longer or faster to cook. So if it's okay to do small batches. So I could have done half, put in some broccoli, and half again. Just make sure you divide up your aromatics as well. So you just want to be mindful of that. Oh wow, okay, so it's coming out quite nice. And so you can see, when they cook, the strips become pretty, like about this size, if you will. Okay. So if you've had chicken and broccoli outside at restaurants, they're usually cut they're pretty thin pieces like this. The good news is it helps it cook faster. And otherwise, if it's a bigger chunk, you're gonna be here for like ever to cook. Okay. So I have that. Now I'm going to put actually I'm going to start with about a third of my sauce first to pour in. But first I'm going to let it heat up some more. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, like my pan is a bit on the small side, if you. I mean, it's a pretty big pan. It's a 12-inch pan, but it's for this type of job, I probably should have used, like, you know, done two small batches. But that's okay, that's okay. It just takes a minute to cook. Takes a minute to cook. And to make sure you have your high heat, you want to make sure you're cooking the chicken thoroughly. There we have it. Look at that. That looks great. I mean, you can technically just eat like chicken and aromatics, if you will. I'm going to smooth it around a little bit more, and then I'm just going to let it cook. I mean, you could sing while you're cooking, you know, listen to some music while you're stirring. It's almost time to swap up my chopsticks. Okay, so let it rest for about 30 seconds while I grab my sauce, and then it's time for the broccoli to go in. Now it's gonna be kind of wonky with broccoli because it's gonna be like this. Ow! It's gonna be pretty high, but the broccoli will reduce down. So just as you can see, there's liquid coming out of the chicken. The same will happen with the broccoli. Oh wow, that's coming out great. Coming out great. Alright, so I'm going to actually just pour a tiny bit, careful it's hot, of my sauce there. So I already did that, and just move it around while it cooks. And then we're going to let the sauce really evaporate so the chicken gets the flavor, if you will. Okay, we want to make sure there's no sparks, no parts sticking. Okay, so there we have it. I'm going to switch out of my chopsticks and get a spatula. Okay, and then now I'm going to slowly put in my broccoli. Okay, so broccoli Now again, this is where a bigger pan or small portions would help. And ta-da! Okay, there's the broccoli there. I'm just gonna let it sit and slowly try to. Okay, slowly try to even out. Wow, as you can see, probably need a wok or small portions. That's okay, that's okay. I'm just going to slowly move this. Really trying to move get the broccoli to start cooking. So, now I might need a little bit more water because I don't want my sauce to completely evaporate, right? So I still have half my sauce. As you can see, it's evaporating pretty quickly, and you know, make sure your broccoli is well soaked. So some people like the crunchy broccoli, other folks don't. So it really depends on how you like it. And so it's coming up nicely. So now I'm taking a quick look. It's dry. Well, it hasn't dried out, but moving it, as you can see, the broccoli is getting smaller because the water is coming out of it. So I'm going to help it on its way by putting in the rest of the sauce, like right here. Okay, so there's the sauce. And again, I made, and I still have it on high heat. And you know what? I am actually going to get a little bit more water just in case. Okay? So just in case, I'm going to try to move this around. As you can see, it's really tough with a small pan, but I'm making do. The good news of small pan is you know your chicken's going to be cooked. Yep. Now the thing with the wok you got to be mindful of is making sure that things cook evenly because of the shape. Okay. So you want to be mindful of that. Okay, that's coming up quite nicely. And I still have the slurry as well. So I'm going to move that. You can see the broccoli is getting smaller, as you can see. You know, my chicken to broccoli ratio, it's always kind of wonky. Because, you know, it's a pound and you got like 4 cups. And it's like, alright, that's a healthy portion. I might have to do a half a pound to the 4 cups. And then you really have like a chicken to broccoli ratio, if you will. And then you want to make sure you slice your broccoli as well. I kept some bigger pieces, but then I also sliced some pieces as well. Okay, so let that cook for another minute. And you know what? I am going to add 3 tablespoons of water. So, right back. There's some thrown too. 3 tablespoons of water. There we go. That's cooking nicely now. Really, you can see the vibrancy of the grain, if you will. Okay. Now, if at this point you know if you don't like the slurry, like a thicker sauce, it's all good too. And I just want to cook the broccoli so it's nice and tender. I can see it's pretty vibrant over here. Now, if you slice the broccoli in smaller pieces, of course it'll cook a lot quicker. And you know what? I am going to flip this. You can see, and that's this is a classic chicken and broccoli and white sauce. You know, and okay. So you want to let it cook and just stop stirring for a minute. While I leisurely go and grab the slurry mixture. What? Very leisurely. So I have it right here, and I'm just gonna mix it while everything else while it's cooking. And what I did was I moved the chicken and some of it so I can see the sauce level, and then Get my slurry ready. Wow, that is really loud. Okay, so my slurry is ready to go. Okay, I'm gonna give it one final stir like this, making sure I'm cooking all the chicken. The great news again, so I'm doing this spiraling thing. Now I've had to walk, so much easier. Alright, so we want to just move, making sure that all parts of the chicken are getting cooked. Okay, there we go. Alright, time for slurry time. Slurry, nice and mixed, and then, oh shoot, I was a little bit too fast on that, wow. Alright, so again, slowly cook it, now, so with the slurry, I'm just going to reduce the heat down to medium, and then just move it around, move it for about 30 seconds, keep thickening up the sauce. Look at that, look at that. Look at that. Now, if you like more sauce, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but as you can see right here, it's pretty thin sauce. It's still there, but you can put more water in this now. So mine is ready to go. I'm going to turn off the heat, and I'm just going to move it around. Move it around. You can see the steam coming out. Move it around, move it around. So really, I'm moving that starch. It's still cooking, if you will, because of the steam. And then just move it around. Okay. So again, if you like a thicker sauce, and it's not, a lot of people do, I actually like it. I mean, mine is it's pretty moist right now. And it's a pretty thin sauce, but that's cool because when you're eating, some of the moisture will seep out. Okay, cool beans, cool beans. All right, so there we have it. Classic chicken and broccoli. Let's cool down for a minute, and let's get over to the plating and tasting. Okie dokie. All right, see you in a minute. See you in a minute. Alrighty, here I am with the completed chicken and broccoli, classic style. What? As you can see, look at that, look at that, looks so yummy. So I have, mine is light on the sauce, but it is still there, as you can see. And again, want to overemphasize, what I could have done is put in some more chicken stock. Or some water, I mean, up to your choice. Chicken stock will add a bit more flavor, so if you have it, otherwise some water. And then I am going to plate. So it goes great with rice. I'm not going to plate everything, just enough. You know, actually, if I had a bowl of rice, this would have been great to plate it with. Plating the bowl of rice. There we go. Oh my goodness, look at that. Can you smell that? Woo, smells great. Classic chicken and broccoli. Classic chicken and broccoli. Well, in white sauce. There's a brown sauce version as well. I might do that next time. Okay, so here we have it. Chicken and broccoli. Chicken and broccoli. Wow, look at that. A lot of broccoli. Okay, I'm not going to plate everything. Look at that. See? So much. Great for food prep. And here we have it. Chicken and broccoli in white sauce. Classic style. So simple, so easy to make. Oh man, voice broke in the last bit. All right, so let's get to the tasting. And as you can see, I'm like doing this for some reason. As you can see, it's pretty light on the sauce this time around, but it's still very moist. Ta-da! And right there. If it's thicker sauce, of course, if you do have a thicker sauce, you want to be mindful. Don't move your plate around like this. And it's ready for the tasting. I did put a lot here. Woo! All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, I am here at the tasting area, aka my desk. Is it my desk? It's my desk. It's my desk. It's my desk. Also my prep area. So I have my trusty chopsticks here and the chicken and broccoli in white sauce, classic style. And before we begin with the taste test, of course, I am going to, I'm going to adjust my glasses. Tell your dad joke. So what is this dad joke for today? What is it today? Today's dad joke is about seagulls. So, seagulls, they fly over the sea, and why don't they fly over the bay? Because if they flew over the bay, they would be called bagels. I know, it's pretty cheesy, but it's a dad joke. It's a good chuckle. So share it with friends and family, and hope you build up your repertoire of these feel-good dad jokes, if you will. All right, on to the taste test. And oh wow, that was careful. I'm gonna take a small, the smallest bit I can find. Wow, that's some good stuff. By itself, it's great. Subtle hints of the ginger, subtle hints of the white pepper. Again, if you like it on the salty side, you can do, salt to taste, of course. Well, it's great. So put it over better rice, and it's actually a super healthy meal. It's chicken and the broccoli. It's got the ginger for the digestion. All right, so again, what I'm saying is there's variation to suit your taste and suit your style, of course. Mine is a thinner sauce, but some folks really like the sauce. So, of course, you can add more chicken broth and a bit more of the cornstarch, the starch at the end, because some folks don't use cornstarch, and thicken it up a bit. So mine is, I think mine is super well balanced, because I don't want it to be dripping with sauce, just enough to coat the rice, if you will, when I'm having it, and also help, for me, it's a measure to see if, to see how moist my chicken will be. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And cheers. 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 Cheers, 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 cheers.